What do you guys want to do? I guess I could commentate Swiftness's game and just talk shit on him.
That's gonna happen. Just all the terrible plays.
Let's do this. All right, we're all in. If you guys don't make an answer for me in the next 1 minute, then we're all in on this.
There is a cat walking around in between me and the keyboard. Come on, cat.
Sure, that's the reason why you're missing all that CS.
Not even. You're blocking my monitor, cat. You're not even my cat, cat.
Go for it. All right, we got confirmation, so we're gonna do that.
All right, get ready for some terrible decisions in both life and
You're
league.
gonna hear. So what you're gonna hear, guys, is you're gonna hear me make comments on the game, and Swiftness is gonna deny that he did anything wrong, and he's just gonna be wrong, and I'll have video evidence of it now. So this will be perfect. It's like, damn it. All right. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get League up and running here. It'll be just a minute, guys. Also need to close out some windows, so you'll have to give me just a minute.
Why did Cassidy and Vayne become big bands?
I forget. I don't know why Caston specifically. Vayne's been seeing a lot of play though. Just people are getting more mechanically sound with her. I don't think that it was really a huge change with anything other than, Blade of the Ruin King came out. Blade got nerfed as well, which is noteworthy. Not like, I think it's less brutal than some people make it out to be. Like some people are like, oh, it's like not like a bad item, but they're like, oh, it's so much weaker now. But I think they just kind of put it in line, which is good. All right, so we're gonna get into our league commentary here.
Looks like I'll probably be 80 carry because no one else wants to play it.
So we go into our client. Let's see what we got here. Okay, Swiftness currently in queue. You playing a ranked or are you playing a normal?
Ranked.
Okay, we're gonna get our delicious bronze rank queue, bronze division 1. Swiftness climbing his way up the ladder. Let's take a look at this profile, see what we got here. Let's put
Jesus.
Swiftness on blast here. So
No.
he's got 72. He's got 72 wins. He had a bad start coming into this. I'll be honest. He went 2-8 in his placement games. A combination of just bad DCs, just poor teams in general.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal because then I had to
Him
work
being
up
bad, but I digress.
some of that too.
So if we look at some of the other things he's got, we got a lot of co-op AI games, but that's just because we like first wins of the day. I do also. He's got a victory on Tarek on ranked. If we actually look at his league, we can see his stats. Looks like he's played a few games of Tarek, 13 games played, 11 is Corky. So we got a variety of champions. He likes to move around a lot. He's actually got 7 games played as Udyr, which is kind of interesting. Udyr's not really the greatest of picks right now. Even with the revamp, I feel like he's not the best of champions. It's unfortunate that we can't see his win-loss rate with these champions.
You can on Loking.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna do that.
That's good.
But yeah, he
probably
plays
for the
a
best.
huge variety of champions, as you can see. Just really, when you're in the lower brackets, you really just got to pick up what's available. It's kind of hard to call something, if you will. But, we can see that he plays a lot of support as well. I know these Nunu games are mostly support Nunu, not so much jungle Nunu. Soraka, Tarek. Plays some jungle as well, I know that. And then he plays AD carry where he needs to. But we're waiting for him to get set up. Let's look at these rune pages. Okay, so his AD carry page, we got 6% lifesteal. He's got his attack damage, and then he's got the typical armor and MR, so that's fine. He's got his support page, which is his gold per 10. I guess we'll focus on the AD carry since he said that's what he's going to be doing. So yeah, just got the typical runes, you know, some attack damage, some lifesteal. Lifesteal being the prominent thing that's happened over this past season, especially with the changes to Doran's Blade. Can pretty much now actually sustain in lane, as opposed to before. If he wins this game, he very well could be in promotion category, since he won his last game as well, but we'll have to see on that.
What are we looking at? We're looking at a
I'll cover it.
23.3, repeating of course, chance of victory. Corky with support, Zillion. That's looking like my lane against Twitch with support, either Nidalee or Lux.
Alright, so we'll be
We
in it
have
in just
a,
a minute here, guys. Just waiting for the 2-minute delay
AP
to go off.
Lulu is our mid, so I don't know how that works. But it doesn't sound very safe.
I
but
believe
we'll
his
see.
name is Zamfira makes it work. I believe is what the guy's name was.
Oh, okay.
Seen that in high elo somewhat. Not to say that it's the best pick, but it can work.
Okay, so that's probably where this guy got the idea from. So we'll see how that works out. We'll see how the bronze version of it works out.
Alright, here we go. So we're going into the client. We see the jungle matchup is going to be Kha'Zix versus Jarvan. I think Kha'Zix has a rough time in the jungle now, especially with the patching, just because he needs a lot of money. We'll have to see how that shapes up. Doesn't really bring a ton of gank potential to the lanes, so he's going to have to rely on the people in lane to provide it. Obviously, Fiora not the best at that. However, you do have a lot of damage via Corki with the Zillion lane to be able to poke down and really facilitate that. Lulu does have the ability to polymorph into her slow as well, so that is a way to get to kind of chain slows together with void spikes from Kha'Zix. As far as the other team goes, we have Tryndamere as kind of the hard carry of the team. We have Twitch, who combined with Jarvan does a pretty nice AoE combo. They also have Lux to promote that AoE combo. We have a teleport Nidalee, which we'll have to see if she goes Bruiser or AP as a result of that, but she's going to be a strong split pusher regardless. They do have a slight poke comp with Lux and Nidalee being on the same team. And they have a way to really protect it with the Jarvan to be able to ult on top of them. He has his shield, which does a minor slow. If they ever commit too far, then Tryndamere gets a free way in. What else do we have here? As far as the red team's team fighting potential, we have Zillion as a support, which is kind of nice because he's going to be able to resurrect whoever falls in battle. They're running more of an all-in comp, it seems, than anything else with Kha'Zix and Fiora. The question is either of those champions going to get tanky enough to really provide a frontline presence? But we'll have to see how that works out. They do have a great potential there with Fiora and Kha'Zix jumping in. Lulu is going to be able to immediately wild growth them and get a nice knock-up, which is good. So you have plenty of damage on the red team, but we're going to have to see if they're going to be able to survive long enough to make it work. I'm kind of interested in the interaction between Zillion and his resurrection versus like Tryndamere and his ultimate, because if Tryndamere ultimates and tries to get one kill off of it, Zillion could counter ult and kind of nullify his ult in response, but we'll see how that works out. Tryndamere has seen a lot of play just with the strength of Blade of the Ruin King. With the nerf, he's kind of dropped off as a result of it, but we'll see how powerful he is. He's still a really strong carry to get through a game with. A lot of people don't understand what they need to do to stop him. A lot of people don't run sufficient exhausts to really stop him as well. We're going to have to see what this bottom lane is for the blue side. As Swiftness mentioned, they have Nidalee and Lux, and those are our most likely candidates for being bottom lane. Since Lux has the exhaust, I'm going to expect that it's going to be her. Lux should do fairly well against Zillion, I would think, just because she has the shield to be able to block some of the mitigatable damage. They don't have a great way to engage, or Zillion doesn't have a great way to engage, rather. Obviously, Corki can Valkyrie in, but he has to Valkyrie in a line, which makes him susceptible to the Lux bind.
Oh,
We'll see how it works out.
Okay. Oh, stream giving me information I shouldn't know. So I know since our mid is most likely gonna be our lane that has a harder time, most likely. Because Nidalee is playing as more serious champion and has proven that she was able to get to at least silver last thing, and the other person hasn't really proven that they're able to get that high. And they're playing a non-serious champion on top of that, so it's like, we'll see. Also, our Kazakhs forgot to buy items, so he's out in the jungle right now with no items.
You're gonna keep up with this, I'm gonna have to mute you. I'm doing the commentary here, Libyan. You focused on last hitting, so that you have no excuse when your CS is
He
behind.
actually had forgotten to buy items, so he had to back. Well, guess I'm just going straight bottom then. Not gonna wait. So now he doesn't get a pull. Now he doesn't get a. Okay, cool. Twitch isn't hiding the bush. Now he doesn't get a leash, so that's not good.
Let's see what we got here. Any other comments right off the bat? Well, notice that Tryndamere is running Ghost, which is fine on him. But that does mean that he's more focused on the chasing potential of the champion, rather than using Flash for protection. What else do we have here? Well, we're going to get right into them. We can make commentary as it happens. At the very beginning of the game, it's going to be on auto camera, because I'm going to have to rearrange the character portraits. But then I'm going to try to manually handle it in between eating. As far as Tryndamere Fiora goes, it'll actually be kind of an interesting lane. Fiora doesn't have any sort of sustain while Tryndamere does. Tryndamere also kind of gains a lot of ground on trades, but so does Fiora, so that'll actually be probably one of the more interesting lanes in this matchup. Lulu does a really good job bullying in lane, that's why she can be a solo laner. So it'll be... We'll have to see how she develops over time. However, if she gets behind, it can be a real big problem, obviously. People have trouble when they get behind. Looking at starting item choices, we'll notice that Lulu has gone with the Fairy Charm build to start with the ward as an option. If Nidalee is going mid, she has not, which it does seem like she is because Lux has picked up quite a number of wards and is headed bottom. Lux has also gone for the Fairy Charm build, but with no sustain. It's going to be interesting because Zillion is very good at harassing down opponents just with his bombs. Lux is going to have her shield in order to counteract that somewhat, but it's not going to be enough to totally mitigate the influence of Zillion. Zillion also is kind of light on sustain with only the Biscuit. Both of them are carrying quite a few wards, which is good. Always have plenty of wards if you're a support, even in the early game. What else? Mid lane, Nidalee, running a little bit low on sustainability. She doesn't have her wards. However, she will have her traps to have a little bit of added safety. She tries to get a quick spear off, but actually hits the creep wave as a result. Kha'Zix gets a late start because he wasn't able to buy his items, and he's going to start his blue very late. That's going to give Jarvan a significant advantage as he gets a decent pull by Tryndamere, even though he has to blow his smite as a result. So that's going to slow down his jungle minorly, since he didn't get a full start. Trindamere's going to come into lane, and Fiora's going to get the first jump on him, but it looks like Trindamere's going to level spin, which is a decent idea at level 1 just to avoid situations like that. Had he not, Fiora could have engaged in a fight and really pushed him with Ignite, being the first one to Ignite and put out damage. And she's still trying to put out a little bit of harassment as a result. Trindamere's going to have a little bit of a rough time in the start of this lane, but I think he's going to be okay. We'll have to see how that develops. We'll notice Trindamere went with a crit build, which I don't really agree with at all, but, you know, again, we'll see how it develops for him. Bottom lane. Bottom lane's looking okay. Nothing really too much happening here. Nothing to see here. Just Twitch shooting and getting bombed on, you know. Nothing too crazy. Lux isn't being aggressive enough here with her ward, I think. I think she really needs a ward in the top bush in order to spot when Zilean is going in for his bombs, rather than afterward. But that's something that she's just going to have to develop. Mid lane, Nidalee's getting the better of these exchanges, not so much in that, but she's threatening the CS off more. Either that or Lulu is just missing her CS a lot more. I feel like the harass should be fairly equal in this lane. It is of note that while Lulu has a shield, Nidalee actually has the ability to just heal herself, push the lane faster. I'd say their pushing potentials are fairly equal at low level, although when Nidalee hits 6, that's obviously going to change drastically. Slight level advantage for Nidalee as well, as we can see. Slight level advantage for Fiora as well, as she entered lane before Tryndamere did. She's pushing up to the tower, which makes her a little bit susceptible to a gank. However, Jarvan's at the bottom side of the map. There was no vision to indicate that he was there, so it was kind of fortunate that the wave was pushed at that point. So they were able to get out of that situation without too much trouble. Tryndamere is going to get some nice CSing. He's doing actually a pretty decent job of CSing under this tower. Yeah, and he's really denying the wave here for Fiora, which is excellent. Like, that's something that he really needed to do. If you're in this situation as Fiora, you really either have to farm your own jungle or you just need to go back and buy. She went for the red pot start, so she's really looking for early aggression. That's another reason why she went for the level 1, and she's just not finding it. She needs to make something of that fairly quick, or else she's going to lose all the advantage that she would have got from that. Jarvan making his way top and pinging that he's going to come top is going to be one of the things here. Tryndamere doing a little engage to put a little damage, but I think he's more trying to bait her to stay in the lane for this engage. So we're going to see this gank coming in. Is this going to be first blood? Jarvan gets a nice pop-up. In comes the Ignite from Fiora in order to try to put pressure on Tryndamere, but that's just going to be too much coming out. She needed to just get out of there. Like, there was no reason for that. Tryndamere still had his heal up at the time. Of note. Kha'Zix's going to make his way top lane in order to try and hold this wave, but he's going to expose himself up at the top wave and probably get the second blood from Jarvan as a result. Really poor decision making on his part. He's going to... Ooh, wow. Is he going to get out of this? Wow. Okay, that's very fortunate for him. Jarvan actually made a mistake there, I feel. He really should have just ran up and just meleeed him. And the reason why he would do that is he has red buff to apply the slow. He doesn't need the knockup. What you use the knockup for in that situation is to chase. So that occurrence that just happened, it doesn't matter. He still gets rewarded with a kill because Kha'Zix really shouldn't have been there trying to defend that tower with the huge wave. Now they lose the huge wave. They lose all that experience, all that gold, and they gave up the kill. Now we have Jarvan, who has a couple kills. He's going to engage Fiora inside the jungle. He tries to poach the jungle, but he's going to get killed as a result. Tryndamere running in is going to get himself killed as well. But at least he's going to save the double buff, which is nice. Oh, wait, is he? I don't know why Fiora isn't going for that. That's... I mean, yeah, Tryndamere has his ult as a result, but she can double Q, like Q in and Q out, and force Tryndamere into a position where he can't really effectively engage. I guess it's better to be safe than sorry then. So they secure the double kill. They get the double buffs off of Kha'Zix as a result of him just being kind of lackluster, not really respecting the dive potential of the comp. As I was saying with Jarvan, though, he really wanted to run up there in melee to apply the slow and the burn, and then if Kha'Zix decides to jump or flash away, then he can chase him with the flag toss, and then he has nowhere to really run after that. So I think that was the more appropriate way to handle that gank. Another thing that people do is they'll flag toss with Jarvan and chase it immediately and then ult. And that's fine if you have a way to quickly engage with your team, but more often than not, your team's not going to be able to catch up with you. So what you should do is try and use your ult And then if your ult fails, if they flash over it, then you throw your flag in the most likely direction that they're going to flash to. That way you can stay immediately on top of them and knock them up and give your team more time in order to engage. You can also do it the reverse order. I find that blowing the ult is a little bit better because you force the flashes out of them immediately and get a response. You won't necessarily force a flash if you do the flag toss into a group of guys. Fiora ends up getting just out-muscled by Tryndamere, who's got an Avarice Blade, which is kind of a slow start for him. I guess he's trying to push for the Static Shiv to be able to push better, which is an interesting build. Fiora doesn't really have a great way to push until she gets her Leviathan, which is a pretty typical build for her. So getting access to an early Static Shiv is going to be kind of big. We have a gank coming down as Jarvan tries to punish the kind of pushing that Corki and Zilean are doing. But it doesn't look like bottom lane was really having it. They just really wanted to farm under their tower. Maybe Jarvan was just trying to dissuade a dive as a result of that, but he really didn't need to stand there if that was his goal. Still, the wards are kind of odd for red team. This ward does not see what it needs to see. It needs to be a little bit lower in this area in order to see anybody emerging from the tri-bush. It's going to get counter-warded by this pink, which would also see this bush and that place that I just mentioned before. So really that ward was kind of wasted in a way. Red team has warded this bush, which is a concession to the power of Lux, like her ability to root you and then hit you with a massive laser is just a lot of damage even at a support build. So I'm going to actually put it on auto camera for the next couple minutes while I kind of take a look at this stuff. That's a huge wave that they're losing mid. It looks like the farm is fairly even in most lanes. Obviously, there's a discrepancy in top lane and an experience discrepancy, which is probably the bigger issue happening with top lane. Bottom lane CS is roughly equal, which is good. And that's okay for the par. You know, about 6 CS a minute's not too bad, especially for the first 10 minutes of the game. Especially at this rating. Yeah, I mean, it's... The biggest problem here is the kills. Tryndamere's got a couple of kills, which is just going to really accelerate his power spike that happens at his mid and late game. Jarvan has a kill, which is going to help him immensely out with his jungle. You'll notice Jarvan is going for the Madrid's build to increase his jungle speed rather than the tanky type of opt that most people do. I can't believe that it would jump me from one side of the map to the other in the middle of a kill. Swiftness is going to trade a kill. He's going to get gunned down low as a response. Slight win there for the blue team, just because even though both of the AD carries get the kill, Corki is obviously not there to get the experience or the gold that's left on the map, which is important.
Yep.
Alright, now we're starting to see the real discrepancy here. Tryndamere is able to push his lane after he took the tower, and now he's able to roam to other lanes, and that makes him dangerous. He's actually a pretty decent ganker. Not brutal in any sort of the imagination just because his rage decays over time, but he still has access to his slow if they try to run. He has an avenue in. He's okay. Zilean has a good way to counter that with his slow, but not everybody in here has that necessarily. What else do we have? You'll have to forgive me, I kind of choked on a little bit of cereal here. Get some water. Alright. Nidalee's getting a couple kills on her, which is going to accelerate her game as well. Ooh, Twitch is down. Yeah, going invisible when there's a bomb on you doesn't help you. I decided to just give up on it and just start copying. Alright, they're going to get the kill off on Zilean, which is going to trigger his ult. However, they might be able to turn this and get a kill on... Ooh. Jarvan, so close to death. Swiftness has to back off out of that, though, as a response. The Lux Laser, I'm surprised didn't kill him. But it is a support Lux, so obviously she doesn't have the access to the most damage. And for some reason, she's building the Spirit Stone. I guess she's building that item that gives her cooldown reduction and spell vamp, but that's a terrible idea. Why is Jarvan diving there? Whatever. He gets away with it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the power
he
of
should
having...
have survived that, but whatever.
I mean, that's the power of having 1 kill and 4 assists as a jungler. I mean, you have that extra gold. As I mentioned, I'm surprised he's doing the Madrid's build and not the Spirit of the Ancient Golem, which has gotten a lot of good praise from both pro players and casters and commentators. And I agree with it too. Once they changed the items that you needed to create it, the reduction in cost mixed with the extra cooldown reduction really made it a powerful item. In addition to the tenacity, Kha'Zix's gunned down by the rat. I guess it's more like poisoned down. Same effect though. Bug gets killed by poison. I think that's Pokemon, right? Bug loses to poison. Yeah, so.
No, or something like that.
All right. Lulu trying her best to be able to push off or to stave off this wave clear, but at this point, Nidalee has access to her Sheen for a little bit more wave clear. She has level 6 already by far. She's level 9, so she's able to clear with her Cougar form if she so desires. Wow, Tryndamere is gonna get. Is he gonna get this kill? He pops his rage a little early, so he's probably dead. Yep. Really poor decision on his part. You don't want to pop your rage that early. That's kind of silly. Is Nidalee going to make up for it, though? Oh, wow. Excellent. Good play there by Lulu. Really getting a couple of key jukes there to be able to get a kill off on the tower. Kha'Zix's actually in range to get the experience for it also, which is good. Oh, gosh. So much to talk about. So our farms are roughly similar, although Kha'Zix is ahead in farm inside of the jungle. He's not getting nearly enough kills. Kha'Zix is going to try to 1v1 this Twitch, though, and he's doing a damn good job of it, especially with the added bonus of his isolated target. We're going to have a chase down by Fiora, who's going to freaking Omni Slash or whatever it's called, but she just doesn't have the damage right now. You'll notice she has no real items built. She just has a longsword and a pickaxe. Long way away from her Leviathan, if that's what she's going for. Or not Leviathan, but a Hydra. They're going to try to push this lane somewhat. I don't think they're going to get much out of this, and Nidalee is a huge threat. Like, I don't know why Fiora tried to devote that much effort into that. That was almost a dead-ass Fiora. Swiftness is going to put some damage down on this Nidalee, but it's just not going to be enough. She's going to have the ability to heal herself, and she should back at this point, seeing as how the waves are going to equalize. She has Jarvan in the jungle who can cover if she needs to. Here comes our Lulu coming down from the mid lane, and she's going to pick up a kill as a result of that. You'll notice there is no ward coverage down this river. Look at this. There is one ward here, and that's to block the dive. And there's one ward at the opposing blue. And that's really everything on this map. This lack of vision is exactly why these ganks are happening and why they're being anything close to effective. Because they really shouldn't. Fiora is going to try to pick up the blue, but it's warded, so we're going to see if there's going to be any contest. Jarvan's going to move into place to try to, but he's not going to get a successful steal off, and there's just too much enemy presence there, so he has to back out. Twitch going to come in from the side and get reamed because he's an idiot and went in on 4 people. Is he going to get punished? Going to be close. Fiora coming in from behind. She's going to try to pick off Jarvan. Jarvan's way too tanky. She's going to get mauled as a result of that. Twitch gets away. Jarvan jumps on her to try and stop this from happening. Zillion ults in order to protect her. Lux is going to laser. Nope, not quite enough. Not level 11, not going to have that burst of damage. And because she didn't go for pure damage, she's not going to have it. She decided to buy the stupid jungle item for her lane. So now we get some cleanup by Lulu, who again roams, and because once again on blue side there's no fucking wards, she gets away with it. Looking at our gold totals, we notice that blue team is still ahead by 4,000 gold, so maybe they're just a little bit ahead of themselves. I don't know why. Again, like, Lux does not need to be that close in order to farm that wave. She could be sitting exactly where she's at now and shooting out her her AoE to be able to farm that wave. This Lulu is on a roll. She's 5-2 and 0. Let's see, what's her farm look like? It's about 6 CS a minute, give or take. 6 and 42. Yeah, about 6, between 5 and 6, closer to 60 S a minute. So her farm's a little low. Actually, it's considerably low, but she does have 5 kills, so I mean, she's gonna start smoking people. She goes with the Morellonomicon, which is gonna give her plenty of mana to be able to push, and it's gonna give her the cooldown reduction that Lulu sorely wants and desires. This Kha'Zix actually gets his Manamune, which is noteworthy, and a Brutalizer. I mean, he has some access. Twitch apparently 2v1s and gets a kill on Zillion, but I think he's going to die to Swiftness here. Yeah, that's... He's also going to lose some experience and gold to the tower, but I mean, at least he picks up a kill for it. Looking at the AD carries, we notice that Corki is pulling ahead in the CS. Twitch has just been dying too much as a result of this, but the kills are fairly even. Like the Kogel. Kha'Zix gets a big jump in and manages to get a kill. He does get the reset, but he's not going to be able to reset a second time off of the current life totals, so he's going to kind of back off of this. Tryndamere has to blow his ult a little bit early, so he's not going to be able to get much off of that. Ooh. Big ult from Lux across the map. Picks up a Lulu that has shutdown bonus on her. They're going to be able to push this tower a little bit. Kha'Zix coming in from the side, but he's dead. Dive him? Dive? Super dive? Yep, you're super dead. You are dead, Kha'Zix. Thank you for the red. Thanks for all the fish. Etc. Twitch coming up from the middle, so they're going to push this mid tower. Jarvan actually is pretty decent at pushing just because of his steroid that he can place down on the ground. Not the best wave clear, but that's okay, especially when you have your whole team there to support. We have Fiora coming up from the back. Bottom first tier 2 or tier 1 tower gets dropped down by Corki and Zillion. We also see that the second tier of mid for the red team is dropped down by Twitch and his entourage of Jarvan. Looks like Twitch and Tryndamere haven't had enough, and they're going to push this top lane tier 2. Twitch in the jungle to try and spot since they have no ward coverage. Again, no wards. Big fucking surprise this game. Nidalee continuing to try and split push on the bottom lane. Taking a look at Nidalee, we notice that she is indeed just, again, re-verifying she's full AP Nidalee. Fiora ends up jumping and smoking Twitch because now they're converging on it. And guess what? When you only have a person to spot and he's a rat that dies in 3 hits, probably not a good idea. Tryndamere's going to get away from this, though, unless... Yeah, she's going to get away. Jarvan's in the mid lane. He just saw that his guys got killed on the top lane, so he should be getting out, and he does, which is good. Red team seems to be gathering mid lane. I don't know if they're going to try and push a tower or if they're all just congregating for no real good reason. Dragon is warded for both teams in the general vicinity, and I don't think that they're really pushing for it either. They notice that Nidalee still is inside of the bottom lane. Jarvan going to try to dissuade this push, but he's not going to be able to do much. While I mentioned that he's good for pushing, he is not good for wave clearing in a defense situation.
Cat, stop.
Neither is Nidalee, really. Their real options for wave clear really come from Lux, and she's not going to have the absolute best farm.
Good at wave clearing when she switches to cap form.
No, she isn't, because she needs to go into cap form and jump into the wave to clear it. I'm not talking about pushing. I'm talking about wave clearing. So she puts herself in grave danger by wave clearing. So their only real source of good wave clear is coming from Lux, and she doesn't have a ton of farm on her, obviously.
Stop it, Cat. Stop.
Looking at the other team, though, Lulu's okay at clearing waves. Corki's pretty decent at clearing waves as well. Tryndamere trying to commit really hard into this fight. He's going ham, balls deep, slapping against ass, and he just gets beat down as a result. His team doesn't really want to follow. They decide to hit the tower instead. I don't know if there was a miscommunication there, or more than likely Tryndamere is just stupid. But we're continuing. Nidalee really commits deep in here, especially when there's a Kha'Zix who can just shit on her like that. Ooh, she manages to just barely get away, though. Very close situation. Nidalee is going to be really good at this siege. So while their wave clear isn't the best on blue team, they do have a pretty good siege team with Lux and Nidalee. They can also dissuade engages with Tryndamere and Jarvan. Fiora's going to try to chase, and she's going to manage to Omni Slash onto Nidalee. Sorry, I know that's not its name, but that's just how I know it. Twitch is going to blow his ult and in order to try to set something up. Jarvan gets a nice Cataclysm. They're going to wait out this Zilean ult and get a double kill as a result of that. Nice circle around from Jarvan there in order to allow that. Swiftness is going to start throwing out rockets to put some damage on the opposing team. I think he probably should save his rockets just for the wave clear, but it's a reasonable option. I mean, Nidalee is nowhere to be seen. He doesn't know if they're going to get healed up or not. And they actually are going to get dissuaded enough to back, just with the resurrections that are happening at the time. We have a teleport coming in from Nidalee, I believe. Yeah, and she's going to start to push top lane again. This teleport Nidalee is going to be a big problem, and it needs to be addressed fairly quickly. It's not going to be as bad as the Bruiser Nidalee, where you just literally cannot kill her. She just pushes and pushes and pushes, and there's no real stop to it. Twitch gets killed, I don't know how. Tryndamere is going to try to get a chase on. He's going to get his chicken ability off, but he's going to run into 3 people and have to immediately back. Alright, so I'm going to put this on auto camera for now, and we're going to try to just kind of take stock of this game. So we notice that Fiora still has shit for items. She now has her Hydra, which is good, but she has very little farm. She has the same number of kills as Tryndamere, really falling behind here, I feel. Jarvan is falling behind in farm considerably. He does have the kill and plenty of assists, though, so they're kind of on equal terms. Picks up a Randuin's Omen, which is good. It's going to be able to shut down Fiora quite a bit. She still relies on her auto attacks quite a bit. Kha'Zix, not so much. Even though he does have a lot of AD on him, most of his damage comes from abilities. Jarvan going to jump in. He's going to be able to Cataclysm on top of Lulu in order to try to stop her. She has no way in particular out, but she's going to cut to the side. Zilean's going to slow her as a result. Jarvan's going to try to devote to this, but there's just too many reds coming. Lux is going to come in with an ult in order to finish off the kill. Zilean's going to get picked off as well. I'm guessing his ult was down. Fiora trying to devote too much onto Lux and gets himself killed in response. Really, like, you need to make a decision whether you're going to fight something or not. And it just seemed like Red Team kind of split there during that fight and couldn't really focus on what they were trying to do. Despite the decent wave clear and the lack of minions, it looks like Blue Team is going to get that inhibitor turret, which is just unfortunate. They put a lot of damage on it earlier, so that's kind of to be expected. Lulu has access to her Zonias, which is good. She has some decent power, but not the best. She's falling behind in CS by 30 to Nidalee, but she does have 2 kills on her. So I mean, I guess the story of this game is it's all these close... Oh wow. Kha'Zix's going to pick up a kill. I don't think he's going to be able to pick up Nidalee. I'm almost positive. If she just turns, yeah, Cougar form, she can even turn this into a kill possibly. Oh, never mind. Lulu's behind there. Can't fight the fairy girl. So while the CS numbers seem fairly similar, we notice Lux has like 5 kills also. That's where a big discrepancy from the 7k gold is coming from. Lux has 5 kills. Twitch has 3 kills. You'll notice a big difference in turrets of 3. I mean, that's where the real stuff's coming from. The discrepancies in CS are mostly being made up from kills on the other side. So it's really coming from the support and the extra kills on Twitch. Big team fight coming up there. I'm actually going to rewind slightly so that I can pick up how that fight started. Alright, we see that they were pushing bottom lane. Nidalee's going to toss a spear. Fiora's going to try to engage on top of Lux before she's able to get something off. They all funnel into this tunnel inside of the jungle, which makes it perfect for a Lux laser. You do not want to fight Lux in that situation. Zilean ults Fiora in response. Kha'Zix trying to go ham. He's going to put out a lot of damage, but he's not going to get the reset that he so sorely wants. If he did, then this could easily be a team wipe right here. Swiftness trying to make a push. They split the team, though, and allow for Fiora to get picked up as a result. Zilean's in full retreat right now. He needs to cast speed up on himself, but he's just going to get impaled by a spear instead. Swiftness trying to put more damage onto Lux, but that's just not going to be enough, and he's going to get picked up by a flash by Nidalee. A very interesting fight. I think the split that Red Team did there and the crowding that they did at the beginning of the fight at the jungle is what really cost them that fight. A lot of damage. All 5 characters hit by a Lux laser and a Lux E. Really, really just a brutal fight. However, that was a lot closer than the 10k gold that they're behind indicates, which is noteworthy. Tryndamere now has access to his Blade of the Ruined King in addition to the aforementioned static shiv that he was building towards. And now he's building a BF sword, which is probably going to go into a Infinity Edge. Kind of round out his build. We see Jarvan is now going to devote himself towards making a Spirit Visage. Nidalee, I'm wondering if Nidalee has access to... Yeah, she's going to be able to get her Archangels whenever she so desires. So she's going to be tossing spears for like half HP. Trying to take this blue, just too much time taken. Lux is kind of a slow blue taker. Tryndamere tries to come in and help, but he's going to get dissuaded and get blown up by a time bomb. Wow, that's kind of gruesome. So like when Tryndamere dies, his sword like flies up in the air and then impales him. I never noticed that before. What else do we have? We notice Living Shadow on Lux, which is an interesting item. I don't want to comment too much on it, because we're trying to get to other items. Corki now has his Infinity Edge. He's built the Brutalizer, so he's looking to get it into a Black Cleaver, it looks like. He also has access to a Vamp Scepter, just for that little extra lifesteal to keep him sustained up. We see that Kha'Zix, just because of the kills that he's been able to get, and he's been keeping up his farm fairly well, has access to a Black Cleaver as well. He still has his Mana Moon, which is... It's slowly getting there. Twitch, and I'm just saying this while Twitch is in a fight getting Omni Slashed by Fiora, but she's going to get gunned down. Jarvan going to jump on top of them in order to cut him off. Twitch going to get a double kill as a result as he gets dunked, or as Kha'Zix gets dunked and then gunned down. Twitch is probably going to get gunned down by Swiftness as he pops his barrier. Randuin's Omen comes out. He's going to be able to get a kill off of Swiftness as long as this Zilean ult can get weighted out. Swiftness is going to try to jump away, but he's going to get jumped on by Jarvan, who tosses a flag toss into the knockup. Big team fight there. Lulu... Ooh, wow. Lulu gets out of that. Just whimsy. Such a good ability. Jarvan's going to be able to actually re-engage on this, which is very surprising. And Tryndamere's just going to chop him to pieces. It looks like they're going to actually be able to put some damage on these towers. Jarvan needs to throw... Yeah, he needs to throw his flag and just allow for the attack speed on Tryndamere. Fiora trying to put some damage down on to Tryndamere, and she might get the Nexus turret, which is of note. That's going to be a kill at the inhibitor, so I don't even need... Or at the Nexus, so I'm not even going to have to look at that. Tryndamere does finally get caught down. It looks like the Fiora, with the slight cooldown reduction, manages to get her dash before Tryndamere can get his spin. Jarvan trying to man mode up against this Fiora, and Jarvan's just way too big, especially with his Randuin and his Omen proccing the Cold Steel debuff. And they're going to pick up the kill there. This is looking really dire. I think that the red team is going to lose this. They're going to pick up their second inhibitor here, and the end of the game's probably sure to follow as a result of that. They have one more Nexus turret. They're 2 inhibitors down. Tryndamere's really kicking in at this point. Jarvan's an unkillable machine. Even though Swiftness and Kha'Zix both have their armor penetration things, it's still... They're just not putting out enough damage at this point. Kha'Zix doesn't have access to his Muramana yet. Corki, while he has his Infinity Edge, he has no way through the armor outside of his Black Cleaver, so he needs to be able to get that debuff on him, and he really doesn't want to be shooting a Jarvan multiple times. I mean, this has been a story, it seems like, of team fights that get split up, and as a result of that, one team ends up taking it. The 5v5 team fights have been rather scarce, I would say. Blue team is going to be in no danger of picking up this Baron as a result. They don't even have vision of this Baron happening. So, Fiora kind of thinks something might be happening, but I don't think she's going to try to engage it. Somebody probably told her that it's too late. She's going to try to push top lane, but that's pushed out way too far. She doesn't have access to any tower, so she's just going to get smoked here as a result. Nidalee covering up the other escape route. Good play by Nidalee. She knows that Fiora can't 1v1 Tryndamere. Fiora's going to try to Omni Slash, gets shit on. Jarvan, nice flag toss. He's going to get a good ult on there. Going to be able to pick up Zilean. Zilean doesn't even get the opportunity to ult before he gets dunked. And that's going to be the game. Just really a game dominated by just a few, like only 2 or 3 team fights that just really didn't go the way that red team wanted. And this constantly split pushing Nidalee really caused them problems, I feel, as well. I didn't really focus on that when talking about the game, but that was obviously an issue as well. I feel like the biggest problems that happened were when when red team tried to pick a fight in jungle. And the thing is you look at all these champions, you look at Lux with their laser and her AoE, Twitch with his line ultimate. You don't want to be caught in corridors. There's certain champions that you just can't do that with. Twitch is one of them. Lux is one of them. Rumble is another one. You just can't do that. But regardless, that's what happened. I think wards were a big issue in that game as well. You'll notice that there was very little coming out from either side, which contributed to kind of the acceleration of the game.
That
did happen. Yeah, it was a rough thing.
Yeah, once again, play quirky, do well, but team too far behind to win.
Yeah, this Jarvan was an absolute monster.
Yeah.
7-1-16.